So where are we on Iran, and why do we need to worry about the press failing Americans? Well, could be Groundhog Day because we've gone from deal with Iran, no deal, deal, no deal, deal, no deal. Okay, and probably expect that to happen many more times because truly this is the most screwed up way of trying to run a country. When you send real estate guys off to deal with people like Iran, I mean, man, you might as well feed the sharks, rabbits, just easy meat because the Iranians played Trump for a fool. And first time in American history that we've quote won and then we're going to pay 300 billion in basically reparations to the one we beat because the only answer to that is we didn't win. um, Before Trump made his foolish move at the behest of Netanyahu, after the Iranians had agreed to do everything we wanted to, and then Netanyahu convinces Trump to go kill all those guys, including the top guy that was opposed to a nuke. So now we got the hardliners who want a nuke, and that's not even part of this deal, right? The deal was, oh my God, the world economy is going crazy. Oil's shooting up. It's over $4 in America. Elections are coming. You just got to throw in the towel, Don Corleone Trump. And that's what he did. Basically, this whole the talk about ground troops and we're going to wipe them out. We hit over 14,000 targets in Iran and they did not cave. Americans probably would have caved by now, but no. And so you really think you're going to go back and bomb more and use up the rest of our inventory? So we have none. With China as a threat, Russia is still a threat, all that kind of, how foolish is that, right? And they they have the Iranians have the geographical advantage of the strait, which has till now been an international waterway, free of charge. Probably not anymore because Trump inadvertently showed them that they have all the eggs, or they have all the cards. Iranians can shut that straight down. There's no way we're going to control any of that. I mean, it just delusional thinking. It's over on their side, 20-mile wide at the narrowest part. Artillery shells can, cover that ground for any ship that might be wanting to transit without Iranian approval. Okay? So here we are. Um, this is going to play out next 60 plus days. Probably it's going to just be more cluster because we got a combination of weird stuff going on. All right. On top of that, um, Trump's Reflecting Pool disaster, which was a $1.7 million contract that turned into a $14 million deal for a donor, no bid contract, which failed within a week. All right, so now we have the algae bloom because nobody has expertise or intelligence, don't follow the experts in the Trump administration. It was all about their donor buddy. And he drove over the thing during the middle of all this with his motorcade. I mean, is because he couldn't want to walk and look, he had to drive on it. So now they're arresting a man who reached in and just touched the little peeling stuff. He didn't take it or anything. And it's like Putin style. And he's got the National Guard there now guarding the algae. Couldn't call him on January 6th, but now we're going to call him to protect the algae from, vandals. And is the national press just going to let this pass like vandals? There's only one vandal that caused the problem, and he's sitting in the Oval Office. But now we're going to pretend it's this, mysterious Antifa group of somebody we make up and arrest some poor schmuck that had just happened to be there. I mean, that's Russia crap, China crap. That's not American. Now, is the press going to go and let him do his lies and not really call him out for that? Because if they are, they're failing their job as our, you know, fifth column. The free press is supposed to speak truth to power, not propaganda like the Russia channels, the China channels that only, it's like Fox News. It's all about, how great the leader is, nothing about how he's failing um, them. In our case, Trump with the economy and the war and all the other crazy stuff he's doing. Putin, oh, we're winning the war, we're winning the war, and they all agree with that. Now that drones are finally falling on Moscow, people say, "Whoa!" Hey, some reality therapy. They're getting a taste of what's been happening to the Ukrainians for the last 4 years, and they just don't damn like it, right? And Putin can't lie anymore because they're seeing it. Well, we got to be seeing it in America. On top of all of this, we still have the problem of a very physically, mentally declining president who has dementia. That's why they keep giving him cognitive tests. They don't do that unless you're showing signs of, you know, frontal temporal dementia, like a partner of mine got. And they lose their filter. They do get worse every day. They never get better. And then the more crazy stuff they do, we're at a point of, do you let somebody with a nuclear codes do dementia crazy without saying 25th Amendment time at the minimum? Try the impeachment part. You don't have enough guts from the Republican side because Trump's cultists will call up a death threat, so they got to lick his boots. And no matter what crazy, awful, illegal thing he wants to do, oh, that's okay. So the only check, and the Supreme Court, oh, you're above the law, Mr. President. What? When is that ever? All men are created equal, except now suddenly the president's, you know. They'll change their mind if a Democrat becomes president. Then say, "Oh no, you're no longer above the law. You're probably even below it." So we have a corrupt Supreme Court, three of which appointed by the wannabe dictator in chief, who's never done an honest day job in his life. I mean, six bankruptcies, including a casino. You thought that was guy who had all the answers. Now prices are up, gas is up, wars. The global economy's in the crapper, all because you've let ignorant, unqualified man pick unqualified, ignorant people to fill out his administration to be his bootlickers, not professionals say, no, Mr. President, it's a bad idea. Nuke a hurricane, going to spread radiation for thousands of miles for thousands of years. His current staff wouldn't even effing know that fact. Probably say, yeah, go ahead. Great idea. I mean, it's just like around. Oh, go ahead. We never even thought about them shutting down the strait because you don't have a brain. That's why. So, would the press give every Obama, Joe Biden a pass for destroying the East Wing without permission, starting a war without permission, grabbing money that's been allocated for certain things, giving it somewhere else, doing all this stuff without benefit of legality, grabbing money, filling his pocket, 6 billion so far, and sliding into this mad king routine that everybody's pretending is normal. Fall asleep over and over again in the meetings on camera. And where's the day-to-day drumbeat from Fox about Biden wandering off when that's now Trump doing that and nobody says anything because he goes out the wrong way? I mean, even the G7, it was so clear. He was so out of it. Man, you could see the blank look in his eye, a little limp, handshake with Macron from France. Holy crap, bad man. I mean, sorry, but a majority of Americans need to, not be uh, sitting back thinking, oh, just if you don't pretend you see it, it ain't happening kind of thing, because we're the back of the bus with a crazy dementia driver who's already knocked a school bus with 178 schoolgirls into the ditch and killed them. A part of his Iran first day strike that, well, we didn't know that was school. And all the other things that they've been doing. Now Israel's going crazy into Lebanon because they want to be bigger than just Israel. Wait a minute. That's grabbing territory. That's doing what Putin did. That's what Hitler was doing. Now you're doing it? I mean, whoa, draw a line here. So there we are, guys. We're on the crazy town, America. The one good news is the World Cup people here are just stunned that Americans really are pretty friendly, and that's good. And our food is pretty amazing if you want to just, yeah, biscuits and gravy and Bucky's and all that kind of thing. Uh, yeah, if you could afford the tickets, right? So, but anyway, yeah, we're in a pickle, folks. 25th Amendment. I mean, Vance is an idiot, but to date, I don't think he's got dementia. And right now, we don't have a choice until 2028 to pick somebody that can fix all this damage. It's going to take two terms of the next Democrat to fix all of the damage caused by these yahoos. You got Kennedy and raw milk, and nobody's getting vaxxed. So the military guys are getting all sick because they didn't get the vaccine. It's like 16th century thinking, and oh, science is bad, experts are bad. Holy crap. It's like those, back in the 15th, 16th century through Galileo, they wanted to hang him, kill him because he was so audacious to suggest that the earth circled the sun instead of the sun circling us. Oh my God, science, evil, evil. Hard to believe, but we're back there. It's like we're now the new idiocracy where people are just stupid. They're taking horse dewormer pills, ivermectin, for God. Hey, unless you're a horse with worms, it's not for you. But oh, I swear I've seen intelligent people say stuff like that. It's just all Republicans so far. Democrats seem to at least, recognize science and education and, following the Constitution, those kind of old-fashioned things that have kind of gone out the window now. So I wish it was something better to say to make you feel better. And my poor dog's had cancer, one of them, and his neck's all swollen up. There's nothing they can do, and oh, this has been a cluster year. I mean, the worst economy in my 18 years of business, and I talked to other small businesses today. I talked to a restaurant, and he said, "Hey, he'd been there 3 years, and this is the worst it's ever been." So, hey, that's small America. That's the real America where most of our jobs are. It's not the big companies, the hedge funds, the people like the billionaires, Musk and Bezos and Trump, not paying their taxes and going, filling their pockets at our expense. And so we've got to turn this around. The only way to do that is vote Democratic in November for every cotton picking seat out there. Until the Republicans get back to being rational humans, right of center, but not radical crazy racists. Are even cutting out black and women generals. Hegseth is out of the Pentagon because they're women and blacks. They're, what? Um, just God, it's demeaning and un-American to treat people that way and generate the fear. Oh, and it's like they've been doing this all the time because they don't have a program, the Republicans, other than tax cuts for the rich. So it's the Mexicans' fault, and then there's too many of those voting. So blame the blacks, and oh, now we've got to blame the gays, but they vote. Oh, we're down to trans people now because it's such a tiny minority they can't fight back and not big voter base, and that's going to be our campaign instead of how do they cut prices, get rid of the stupid tariffs, get someone competent taking care of things, not eliminate all of our researchers top things, uh, take us back into the clean energy game so we can compete with China that Trump gave away because big oil pays him to, just do the pollute and the coal, burn that coal so that the mercury it emits can cause brain damage in children. Oh, that's beautiful. Wind turbines and solar panels don't emit anything, no pollution, and guess what? Doesn't cost a dime to, generate electricity because the wind and the sun don't charge. But you got to buy that coal, you got to buy that gas, the price will go up, it's a loser deal. So hang in there, America. I think we can do this. I think he's fading sooner than, hopefully, sooner than later. but we gotta push back. You can't just let it ride. No wall in the Big Bend. Don't remove all our ocean buoys measuring what the hell's going on with our climate. Being blind to facts don't make them go away. In fact, all it does is make sure you end up paying the price. Like when the 1900 hurricane hit Galveston, nobody knew it was coming and thousands died. Well, it's the same thing. If we're not going to, pay attention to what's going on with the environment and reality, we're going to have a lot more people dead than needed. Like those who wouldn't take the vaccine during COVID because, oh my God, Trump spreading misinformation, all the right wing spreading misinformation. You know who died? The people who weren't vaccinated because the ones who were had a fighting chance. Um, like, polio when I was young. I mean, I would be in a wheelchair, iron lung, had it not been for the polio vaccine. I'd traveled the world, took yellow fever, that turns your organs into liquid if you get yellow fever. And I was one of the first to take COVID because, hey, and when I finally got it, I had a headache for a day instead of being in a grave, like a lot of people ended up because a lot of Americans are in the best of shape, and COVID, when it wipes out your lungs, etc., game over. But hang in there. I think Americans will outlive the low point. Maybe they just had to see how bad it could get before we went back. We've gone from JFK and Obama, the best and brightest, to now we're down to Trump, the dumb and dumbers. Uh, now that you've had a look at that, start up in your game, America. Come on, let's start picking people with intelligence and brain solutions, real, focus on the working class, us people, not just the rich who are doing quite well. Thank you very much. They don't need any more, handouts. They need to pay their fair share because otherwise Social Security is going to run out. Republicans want to kill that if they get back in November. You think your parents, your grandparents, whoever it is, yourself, want to see your benefits cut so that Bezos can have a 10th yacht or whatever the hell it is? No, come on. Vote blue in November, Michael Fedlin. Until next time, and hang in there. We'll all hang in together, or we'll drown separately. So better do the right thing in November because this Republican thing is just bizarro world. And we not helping us. I'm been in 50 countries. I'm telling you, they're way ahead of us now as a result of him. Sad. Till next time.